if you're asking about motherhood and everything coming together at the same time, I really don't know what I would have done had Aditya not been there by my side. Had it been
जान ले लो आदित्य की.
यामी गौतम अपने पति आदित्य धर के साथ नजर आएंगी फिल्म आर्टिकल 370 में. भाई इस फिल्म का ट्रेलर लॉन्च हुआ जहां पर यमी का अनोखा अंदाज नजर आया. वहीं पर यमी और उनके पति आदित्य ने अपने मम्मी पापा बनने की खबर पर भी मोहर लगाई.
The firsts are always challenging, and if you're asking about motherhood and everything coming together at the same time, I really don't know what I would have done had Aditya not been there by my side. Had it been
जान ले लो आदित्य की.
and Lokesh Bhaiya, everybody. I mean, it was of course a home production, but you're part of something. There's a sense of responsibility as an actor, and credibility as an actor, that you have to consistently be at it. Of course, we took precautions. That's also not a time where you tell everybody, that okay, this is what's going to happen. It's the most it's something which is no kept secret, right? And but luckily, most of the stunts and the whole training bit, it was very rigorous training for weeks. As I already mentioned, very thankful to Keshav sir and Bhushan sir. He also took us to NSG here in Mumbai, and my God, that has to be one of the best days of my life, where you actually got to fire live, and I came out looking red like an apple. And they said, "What happened?" I said, "I don't know. I really enjoyed firing those shots." And so many emotions, of course, so many things. You want to be conscious, you want to be cautious, you want to be careful. I'm really thankful to some of the doctors that who were supervising this secretly. And so we were mostly left with the talkie portion or the walking shots which we could work around and manage. But all in all, as he said, this was almost felt like more than surreal. Like, your baby is also part of this whole thing. There were always two of us putting that effort, two of us walking, two of us saying those lines. One, if I'm rehearsing, I'm sure the baby is listening, and I'll never. And I think somewhere the inspiration also comes from how I've seen my mother, work her way through when she was expecting my siblings, or I'm sure the kind of stories I've heard when she was expecting me. I think the kind of mental makeup, especially we Indian women have, I think it's way more stronger than we give ourselves credit for. So I think very God sent the timing, because as I said, I don't know what I would have done had it not been Aditya by my side, because it was a very sensitive time, a very sensitive film, a very important film for us. It's the first film in the family, that's first production that's coming out there. So too many things, but at the same time, as he said, I'm sure इस meeting, इस conference में आपने ये शब्द सुन लिया है, पर वो बहुत ज़रूरी शब्द है. अगर intention साफ हो, clear हो, अच्छा हो, तो सब अच्छा ही होता है. So also, I lucked out as well.
वैसे फिल्म की बात करें तो काफी अलग हटके है ये फिल्म में प्रियामणि भी है. तो देखते हैं फिल्म की ये खास झलक.
Of course, I do feel special, and I do feel happy that I'm a part of such a wonderful film. And I have to thank Aditya Dhar sir for personally giving me a call and telling me that there is such a film. And he told me the story, he told me what it is all about. And I, rightly, as both of them said, that the intention is always right. And I also believe in doing something like that. And which is why I chose to be part of this film. And I'm happy that I'm part of the film. And so thank you so much for having me part of the film. And I hope I've lived up to the expectations of everybody. Okay, so I'm not holding any gun. Unfortunately, I don't have any action sequences in this. But, yeah, you can see, the action you can see when it comes on the big screen on the 23rd. But yes, talking about the cinema as such, how we were on this project and how we handle the whole project, I think it's all thanks to Aditya Jhamle and Aditya sir there. Both the Adityas, they had the story. It was so strong. The characters were so strong that I think it was very easy for us to bring something bring something live to all of you. And I just hope all of you love what you see. I mean, I'm sure you loved what you've seen so far, but picture abhi baki hai, to jab 23rd ko aa jayega, aapko pata chalega.
But what I'm trying to say that this film is not about us. It's not about Zuni or Rajeshwari.
Yeah.
This film is about Article 370 and a whole full-fledged team that was responsible for making this mission happen successfully, and which is the reason why it went down as a landmark chapter in our political history. So it is not about us. It's much more than that. And this is just a gist of what you've seen, because in real life that's exactly how it's happened. You know, so it's a tribute to them, and it's just our way of telling their story of how some men and women of courage and efficiency, how they to imagine that someone's actually gone down and done that, and how between that why and how, that's what the story is.
My brother was there, my wife was there, and there's a baby on its way who was present. So
Thank you.
outside. But it was an amazing time because the way the film happened and the way we got to know about the baby on its way also, it almost felt like वो अभिमन्यु वाली story याद आ गई. The baby knows exactly about how 370 was abrogated, but yeah, so that's how it happened. But yeah, soon you will get to know that if it's gonna be a Lakshmi or a Ganesha. Set पे discussion होते थे, फिर घर पे जाके डांट खाते थे. It was good fun. No, I'm kidding. No, but she's a thorough professional, and she knows her shit. Sorry to say that, but she knows her shit really, really well. So, and it's something where I really feel honored and privileged that I truly feel I lucked out that I got married to her, because as a human being, she's one of the best human beings you will ever meet. She's spiritual, she's religious, she's somebody who's very thorough about her work. She's very professional. If you call her at 6 a.m. for a shoot, she'll be there no matter what by 5:30. And she'll be ready, like sitting, waiting. And for that, she'll get up at like 3:30, take a shower, and then do puja every day, no matter what. So that way, I completely lucked out professionally, personally. I think I'm one of the most luckiest guy in this world.
B62 is the address where we grew up, Aditya and me. So it's the place where I was born. It's the place Aditya was born. It's the place where our parents got married. And the first 12, 13 years of my life and 7, 8 years of Aditya's life, we grew up there. Mm-hmm. So the history is basically, on one side there was a theatre called Sapna. This is in Delhi. Okay. And on the other side there was a theatre called Alankar. And every Sunday, our parents would take us to one of the theatres. Right. And that's where our love for film started. We became extremely passionate. We were big fans of Amitabh and all of that world. So we are not from film business as such, but I have been in the film business for more than 20 years, but in the US. Okay. And we joined hands in 2019. Right. Aditya had made Uri, and he had come to US, and we decided that we wanted to start something. And, this is an exciting moment for us. It's the first public event where we talk about our company, where we talk about the trailer. Yeah. So, yeah, this is a very personal film for us. We are both Kashmiri Pandits. So our families have been affected by this thing. So this is not something that we were thinking of making when the Article 370 was abrogated. The germination of this happened much before that. Right. Not this film exactly, but the events which have taken place in our lives, in our relatives and all of that. So in terms of just the film, we are very thorough when it comes to film. So when it comes to discussions, when it comes to scripting, even on the day of the shoot, we are working on the script.
Right.
Even on the morning, I mean, Priyamani and Yami would address that, and Jamle, that in the morning sometimes we don't know what has to be shot where, because we are still trying to, fine tune the script. So as professionals, for everything we do, we want to make it perfect, as good as possible. There are so many constraints, but in the constraints that we have, let's make it as good as possible. Let's create something which is of international standard.
Right.
Of course, you are always, as a director, you're always tempted when you hear a great story. But as the belief of our company, so like it took me almost 17, 18 years to make an Uri. I was supposed to direct my first film in 2009. That didn't happen. I was supposed to direct my first film in 2011. That didn't happen. 2013, 14, 16. For various reasons, that didn't happen. And finally, Uri happened after 10 years. 2019, it released. And I understood that there was a huge problem, which I feel, with our industry, where the talent was not being backed. It was, like she said, that like there was thoda chacha bhatija vaad thoda zyada tha. And I met him during 2019 National Awards, and we happened to speak to each other at that time. And I realized that the kind of hunger and the kind of talent Jamle has, it might be even better. He might be even better than me. So let's give the best script to best deserving person. It's not like I wouldn't have made a good film out of this. I would have made a good film, but I wouldn't have made a better film than what Jamle has made. And I truly believe in that our company's motto is that let's give chance to people who are outsiders, who really deserve that opportunity, because I didn't get it. I didn't have any godfather. I didn't have any Mai Baap. So I really, truly believe in that.
One thing is about the foundation on which the company is based on, which is, thorough professionalism and trying to give the talent the freedom it needs. But also, Aditya being a director turned producer, it helped me a lot. Because he's coming out not just with one perspective, he knows what perspective I am thinking of. So that balance is something that I think the destiny gave it to me, because I got Aditya, that okay, he knows why I'm saying a certain thing, and there was always a conversation. It was always a chemistry built on any decision whatsoever. So there was no friction of any kind. In fact, both of us also, including the other writing team also, Monal Thakur and Arjun Dhawan, we always were trying to make it better. So it was always that intention, and that I think he's the most important person who led that foundation and that process. He gave that direction. This is how we'll go ahead. And that helped me a lot as a director, because I was not under pressure of, how do I say, if I have to say something, if I want to make a certain treatment completely different. He was always like, go for it. I mean, you try it. I mean, whatever you want. So that I think is a very big thing for me.
The base is basically excellence. We have to strive for excellence, no matter what, and give audience something which they have never experienced before. That was the base with which we made Uri also. That let's give something which audience has never seen before. And same goes for this film, all the other films. He has directed another film for us. Brilliant film. We'll talk about it someday else. That's also coming out really, really soon. So yeah, excellence is what we are always striving for. First and foremost, for this collaboration, I would give credit to Jyoti. She stood by us for a project like this, like a rock. Everybody in Jio has backed us relentlessly on this project. Sorry, I've got a little, thoda gala kharab hai, to main halki se baat kar raha hu. But emotion kayam hai. So, yeah, so we have been collaborating quite a lot. We have already done about 3 films, which will be coming out now. And it has been one of the most wonderful and one of the most satisfying collaborations and experiences. And it's really beautiful that you have a producer along with you who gives you a complete free hand. And for a creative person, there is nothing more important than that. Yeah. Believes in you, trusts in you, gives you complete free hand. And the kind of support they gave us and Jamle. So people who label it as propaganda, I don't care about them. It is as simple as that. I really don't care about them because the whole point is that I know where it's coming from. And audience, Indian audience is actually very, very smart. They are really, really smart. They know a film, जब वो देखते हैं उनको समझ में आता है कि कौन सी फिल्म प्रोपेगेंडा है और कौन सी फिल्म का इंटेंट करेक्ट है. एंड मेरी फिल्म का हमेशा टिल द टाइम आई एम अ फिल्म मेकर और आई एम अ प्रोड्यूसर और आई एम अ डायरेक्टर, द इंटेंट विल बी ऑलवेज राइट. द डे द इंटेंट इज रॉन्ग आई विल स्टॉप मेकिंग फिल्म्स. So I don't care what people say, especially those people जो agenda-driven critics थे. And it's my observation, I might be absolutely wrong, but I always thought that the downfall of agenda-driven critics happened from Uri. If you notice that all the people who had said such bad things about Uri at that time, audience just thronged to the theaters. They just went, and the result was what happened with Uri. So audience doesn't care. It doesn't care if what your political agenda is, what you are thinking, and how you are presenting the reviews. What it cares about is what is the intent of the filmmaker. And trust me, like we have so many examples right now. We watch a 12th Fail, and we know that the intent of Vidhu Vinod Chopra was something to make like a great film. अब आप उसको कैसा भी review दे दो, it doesn't matter. Audience will still go for it. So I always feel it's the intent which matters. And over here with me, with all of us, the intent will be always correct. With her, like all her films in last 4-5 years have been brilliant, back-to-back hits because of the intent. The intent was correct. So I generally don't think about the critics who call it a propaganda and all that. And I feel it's the propaganda in their head which is making them look at this film as propaganda. 370 is an India-centric film. It is one film, it's an event which literally brought India together. It made India one, which was not there, which hadn't happened in 70 years. It's an incredible story. It's one of the best stories I've ever heard. When we were doing research for this film, the kind of stories we got to, Yami, the character she's playing, it's actually based or inspired from a real life woman who actually pulled it off. Priyamani, the character she is playing, it's actually inspired from real people sitting in PMO and how they figured out the whole thing. And the brilliant bit was that there were hundreds of people involved in it, and nobody leaked even a single information. And I kind of sometimes think of myself as investigative journalist. To get these informations out, you have to really, really struggle. But once we got the informations out, we thought it was one of the best stories we have ever. It's got everything. It's got politics, it's got thrill, it's got drama, it's got action, and it happened like it's inspired from real stories. So I don't care about what these people say. Actually, should say कि आप film देखिए. Because अगर मैंने यहाँ पे बता दिया तो
सवाल में फिल्म छुपी है.
बट आपको सब कुछ के बारे में थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ में आएगा. आपको क्लियरली समझ में आएगा कि ये कहाँ से शुरू हुआ था, कैसे हुआ था, और इसकी वजह से क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हुई थी. वो आपको इस फिल्म में क्लियरली समझ में आएगा. हमने थोड़ा थोड़ा 1-2.5 घंटे की फिल्म में, 1-2 घंटे की फिल्म में आप सब कुछ नहीं दिखा सकते हो. तो आप हमेशा चूज़ करते हो कि व्हाट इज़ द बेस्ट आई कैन शो which makes the film interesting, entertaining for the audience, and at the same time gives them an information which is palatable for them. Otherwise ये documentary बन जाती. तो आपको in all probability सब कुछ मिलेगा. आपको information भी मिलेगी, आपको thrill भी मिलेगा, आपको entertainment भी मिलेगा, और आप घर जाके ये अपने परिवार वालों के साथ discuss भी करेंगे कि यार ये हुआ कैसे था, और ये कैसे जिस तरीके से हुआ था ये तो काफ़ी कमाल की तरीके से हुआ था. तो it has all those elements in it. Of course. मतलब that is given. That was given. My intent of making Uri, for example, my intent of making Uri was that I want to make a film which is a tribute to Indian Army. उसके ऊपर लोगों ने उसको propaganda बना दिया, जो भी बना दिया. Eventually I don't care. Like we don't care that much. जिसको जैसा सोचना, एक बार ये फिल्म रिलीज़ हो गई, ये ऑडियंस की फिल्म बन गई है. उसके बाद वो क्या करते हैं उस फिल्म के साथ वो हमारे हाथ में नहीं है. But I again saying that striving for excellence and intent These are the two things which we have maintained in this film also. And I really, really hope that majority of the audience likes this film, enjoys this film, and appreciates the effort which has gone behind making this film the way it is.
Yeah, I think it all comes from a lot of factors, from what's your bent of mind at that point of time. Maybe I would have, maybe my choices 7-8 years back wouldn't have voiced out or supported what my perspective would have been, but maybe that's, you know, there's certain choices you make out of because there's lack of option around you. I'm talking just for myself. But there comes a time in life where you feel, you know, I have to just stop being this fearful person, or fear of, you know, saying no, or fear of not doing films. It's okay if I'm not doing anything, but I'm not going to do anything substandard, anything which I don't have my heart in, and I'm just doing for the economics of it. I think the day that happened, and the film that followed that thought was, I'm not kidding, that was Uri. Thank you. And yeah, it happens, you know, we hear about manifestations and all these things, and I think somewhere it must be true, you know. So at that time, when you grab that opportunity, you also have to have that understanding that, yeah, this is that film. I'm one of the characters in the film. The film is not about me, but I know what potential it holds. Then came Bala, then came A Thursday, then came all these films, and of course, as I said, it all culminated into a 370. So it's a journey. It's a journey. I'm very, I don't know, proud is the word. Does it sound too much? I'm always very, you know, I underplay a lot, I think, with words, and I'm very famous for not doing very famous PR. I think, but I won't have it any other way because it's my journey. It's my journey. I don't owe it to anyone. Of course, I owe it to my family. Owe it to Aditya. Always says, you know, कि it's not just us. It's also the good karma of generations and generations that we are sitting here together. We got together, like-minded people, like-minded families coming and nurturing something nice. So we believe in these things, and I'm so happy that I've come to a point where, yes, I can give voice to my choices and the kind of work I want to do, the kind of work that makes me happy and my audience happy, most importantly. अगर खासकर आर्टिकल 370 की बात की जाए, मैं जूनी हक्सर का किरदार निभा रही हूँ, और जूनी कश्मीरी लड़की है और एक इंटेलिजेंस ऑफिसर है. बहुत लोग इंटेलिजेंट ऑफिसर लिखते हैं. इट्स नॉट इंटेलिजेंट ऑफिसर, इट्स इंटेलिजेंस ऑफिसर. एंड I think पहली चीज़, one of the first things, और ये मेरा एक बेस स्ट्रक्चर कह सकते हैं, एक प्रेप मोड है जो सभी फिल्मों के लिए है कि आई एम वेरी थरो विद माई स्क्रिप्ट. आई थिंक सारे सवाल आपकी स्क्रिप्ट में ही होते हैं पहले, एंड आई नो आप थक जाएंगे सुनते हुए. He was the first director to say this to me, because जब उरी मेरे पास आई थी, मैंने कहा था, you know, ये रिसर्च करनी चाहिए, यहाँ करनी चाहिए, मैं किससे बात करूँ, मुझे किसी से मिलना चाहिए, who do I seek inspiration from, how do I prepare for my character. So one of the first things he said, you know, अगर स्क्रिप्ट अच्छी है तो आपके मेजॉरिटी उस सवालों का जवाब उस स्क्रिप्ट में ही होगा. तो और ये सच बात है. एंड और जितनी बार आप पढ़ते हैं, हर बार आपको कोई नई चीज़ समझ में आती है, नई चीज़ पता चलती है. और वो मैं थोड़ा आई हैव अ लिटिल ओल्ड स्कूल हैबिट ऑफ मेकिंग दोज हैंड रिटन नोट्स, जो उसके बाद मुझे खुद मैग्नीफाइंग ग्लास से देखने पड़ते हैं मैंने ये क्या लिखा था.
And her scripts are filled with notes. Like each and every page, there's no space left. Like she has minutest of details written on her script. Like she's so thorough with her scripts.
She got the script along with her, and every page when AJ was reading the lines and, you know, he was explaining to us the whole story and everything, I just happened to peek at her script, and all I could see was all the writings all over, and, you know, so she's completely thorough in that.
Sweet Priya, thank you. तो of course ये आपका एक mental preparation है, एक emotional connect है, एक back story बनाई जाती है, which we sat together and we made for Zuni. And of course एक जो physical aspect है, एक कि आपको forget firing a gun. पहले how do you hold a weapon? It has to look like a part of you, an extension of you. It should not look कि आपने कोई object पकड़ा है. That's a huge responsibility. And one of the first things I remember Bhushan sir taught me, हम कभी Indian Army अपना weapon ज़मीन पे नहीं लगने देती. So you have to learn how to, अगर आप you lying down also, how do you lie down without having your knee touch the ground first or your weapon. So इतनी डिटेल में ट्रेनिंग हुई है, चाहे वो फिल्म में दिखाए या ना दिखाए, बट द बैक ऑफ माई माइंड अगर एज एन एक्टर मुझे पता है कि मेरी वायरिंग और कंडीशनिंग और प्रिपरेशन इस तरीके से हुई है, तो ऑन सेट कुछ भी दिया जाएगा, दैट एवरीथिंग विल कम इन हैंडी एंड आई एम मोर प्रिपेयर्ड. एंड ऑफ कोर्स जैसा आपने कहा एंड आदित्य शेयर्ड, दिस कैरेक्टर इज बेस्ड ऑन समवन्स real life. It's inspired by a true female intelligence officer. So it was an honor for me to play her. And I'm so thankful to my producers that just to make more money, they did not turn the character into a male character. And they give me this opportunity and gave us this opportunity. So thank you once again.
We are not looking at what is the potential box office and how the critics will review it. The only thing which matters is the story something worth telling? Is it something in our zone? So, we have a certain sense of films and where we come from. And if that's aligned, we are making that film. After that, we do not think about, how are we going to cast, what's going to happen. It's just that, we go with a very determined mind that we have to make the film. We've already made 3 films. And in all of those cases, it's the story which stuck with us, and we went for it. And that will be in the future as well.
Happened with Vicky when Vicky was not considered as a solo commercial actor, and it happened. We have done a film called Dhoom Dham, which happened with Pratik Gandhi at a point when Pratik Gandhi, nobody knew about him that well. We did a film with Manav Kaul as a lead. And we have projected him in a very big way. Same with Pratik. So our intent is great stories with great actors. मतलब उन actors को कैसे project करना है वो हमारे ऊपर है. चाहे वो विकी है, चाहे वो प्रतीक है, चाहे वो मानव है, चाहे प्रिया and Yami. The idea is to make great stories with great actors, deserving actors.
तो उम्मीद है कि यमी गौतम की ये शुरुआत है फिर नई फिल्म और साथ साथ मम्मी बनने की भी. मुंबई से ब्यूरो रिपोर्ट.